We're in.
We're live.
We're in full power. How are you across the pond?
Across the pond, it's quite a big pond. No, it's not that big. No, it's good, thank you. We had an all-time high, actually, weather-wise the other day. I got a little bit burnt on my nose. 39 degrees it was, which is quite hot for Spain.
39.
But yes, it's settled again now. It's settled around that sort of.
Have you ever trained at Elements Gym?
I've trained there a few times. Yeah, I've trained there a few times. It was taken over by, it was UP before.
Yeah. I've met the guy who owns it, and
yeah,
I just think it's the nicest gym to train at.
Yeah, it's a good gym. It's a good gym. I think I've got to a point now where I just avoid the influencers.
Is there more at IO? IO's more chilled. IO feels like a David Lloyd.
Yeah, I don't train at IO anymore. Obviously, when we trained and we trained at IO.
Yeah.
I joined there initially because I was at Padel Club, but every single time that I walked in, there was someone with a tripod, and then I went to the IO because I thought, do you know what, it's going to be a little bit quieter. But again, start to see the same thing. Everyone in there was just kind of like posing. Whereas now I actually found a local gym not too far from mine where all of the equipment is 10, 20 years old, but it's all fucking brilliant. Like the aircon doesn't work in there. You walk in there, you actually train hard. You don't get judged for anything, and you just walk out. So it gets more steps in as well, so a massive positive there. And I've had the best training session since I've been here, and no one knows about the gym.
Yeah, I know I'm going to get a good session when the gym owner's rude to me on the desk.
A lovely pattern. My gym doesn't even have a direct debit. It doesn't even have a direct debit. You have to pay each month as you go. That's how old it is.
There's no cleaner there. I know I'm going to train well. You know when everything's disgusting and dirty, you're going to build some muscle there.
Yeah, exactly. The best kit.
What's your client work at the moment? How is your client work? Because I know you obviously. How are you balancing? How many calls you're taking? Your sales calls? What's the diary split?
Yes, it's good right now. It's good. I mean, people are coming through the journal. I'm getting. I think I've got 30 to 40.
Oh, that's a big jump, isn't it?
Out of the 100. So yeah, they're going. So we're collecting leads. So it's just going to be a case now of obviously upselling those leads into the Momentum program off the back of there. So still obviously juggling business mentoring clients as well. Still got those. So yeah, we're easing in gradually.
Have you made a video ad for your journal?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay, so if we was to strategize on if you was to make a video ad.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing that lets people down on ads, they think it's audiences. The audiences, and it's like AI does that for you now. So the Facebook AI finds the audience, but now I don't know if you know, but you might do, it's all about the script in the ad.
Yeah.
And if you was to script the ad, what's the pain points of this customer?
Right, okay.
And would you give me one or two of this? The people
one or two, like the biggest things are stagnation, so not seeing any progress, and then frustration in regards to working really hard but just not getting anywhere. So they're working really hard trying to do the same things they've been doing for the last 10 years. So a couple of pain points there.
Okay, and then what's the ultimate solution? Like the ultimate thing, the big fix?
The ultimate solution is that by the end of the 90 days, they're actually going to have made the progress that they actually wanted to, simplifying things and really cutting things down to its core values.
If you can make the solution really tangible, like this thing, then all you do in the ad is you just say, are you feeling overwhelmed, you're stuck, you don't know where the days are going, you're not progressing, and every time you try to progress, this happens. Well, over the last 5 years, what I've realized as an entrepreneur making over 6-7 figures in my business, that everyone had all these marketing and sales tactics, but it was actually all focused on me. And when I then focused on me, I then was able to do insert solution.
Yeah.
And then that framework of this is the problem. I found this little thing that you need to know about. And then they got me this solution. That's the hook. Now I'm hooked in.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if you want to find out more about how I can do XYZ, click the link. That. And then you would just make that ad in 10 different variations in 20 different places and just throw them online.
Test. Yeah.
Your cost per lead would be low, because it's just a free book. Like a book phone. The cost per lead would be a lot lower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting ads. There was a live coaching session. It's good. Ads I'm very, very new to. Obviously, I know the basics, but I'm really, really looking forward to digging into that after I've made everything like transition properly.
Yeah, I think most people, what they do wrong with ads is they just launch an ad, but they don't have like a specific flow of emails and CRM. The process isn't set up behind it. So when they get ads and they get leads coming, they say, I didn't get anything. But all the leads that did come in, they didn't even call or email.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
I think it'd be nice to hear what happens if you put a little bit of maybe like 100, even 50 quid a day. What would happen even if you just tested it?
Yeah. I'm gonna do so after these original 100. Obviously, I've got to get another order in. So I'm probably gonna the way things are gone, I might just do 1,000. I might just 10x everything just so I've got the volume there. So then I'm never running out of stock.
If that pressure's good for you as well to actually push and sell, I think now they're in stock, I have to go all in.
Well, exactly, because that'll be about 6-7 grand of stock around that sort of mark. So yeah, might push.
You get a way better margin. You get a way better deal.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
it's good.
In the journal, the main thing it's helping you with is, would you say, it's emotions for people?
Yes, really cutting those back to those core values. Because the biggest thing, I mean, we were speaking about this off camera. I'm sure we'll get on this topic, but most people are so emotional around business, and it does really, really hold them back. As I was saying to you before the podcast started recording, I was having a conversation with a client late last evening, and every single time that she had a no on a sales call, or she sent a message and didn't get a response, or a client left, she just felt like the whole world was crumbling around her, and that she'd kind of failed her business. So yeah, it'd be really good to get your take on that topic, and from a sales perspective specifically, and get your perspective on how you actually handle that with clients.
So, if for someone to make a decision, they're on a sales call specifically, for someone to make a decision, they have to make sure it feels achievable. So one part is like, if it's an overwhelming feeling where it's like, that is so much, I don't think I could do that. They're not going to do it. So it has to feel really achievable, which is why, like, you do your price presentation and you show the prices, and before then you'll say, okay, this will be done in 3 simple steps, 1, 2, and 3, even though it might be a long, complex process. It's our job to make it super simple and to clarify this is all you have to do. Then a lot of people, if it feels overwhelming for them, if it feels like it's too much, that buying pocket, they're not in it, they're not able to buy from you. And we all talk about, say this or there's your objections and just do this, but it has to fit them emotionally, and you have to be aligned. So like a lot of the times, what I'll say before I price present, I have this question, which I say, do you feel like we're aligned in what we're doing? And if I see that person's reaction is like, I won't pitch. I don't pitch anything because I can see straight away we're not aligned. And then that's why, because once you give the offer, they're just not going to get it. So they're not going to buy. No one's going to be like, oh, that sounds cheap, I'll just buy it now. So you just want to make sure that they fully aligned with it. But if someone does feel really emotional in their business, when you're coaching them, it's different because you're supporting them different. But before the sale, I'd say you have to make sure everything lines up properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And from a sales call perspective, then let's say, because again, I want to get your perspective. I'm actually interested in myself. So on a sales call, we get a no, and then let's say we've got a sales call back to back, so we got another one right after that. Are there any steps that you actually take to have a clean slate mentally to go into that next one, rather than letting your emotion from the original one creep into the next one?
Yeah, so especially when you're back to back, it is hard. And there is one thing which is like, do this chant or meditation or clear your head. I actually would just sit for a second and just think, right, I've got this. As soon as your self-belief starts to drop, that's why it's really good to have, if you're in a rut, so a lot of sales teams are getting something called a rut where they're not closing. And what I would do for them is I would get them to close each other's calls, because then the emotion from the call goes away. So if I was in a rut, I know how to get out of the rut. But right before a call, you just take a second, breathe, and go again. But it does affect you because there's a famous quote, which is the best time to sell is straight after you sell. And because you're already in a flow. So I'm a big believer in that. And if you do get a no, you literally just have to reset and just, right. And I would say stand up, which is like really, like, what difference does that make? But if you've just been sat down for 45 minutes, haggling, talking to someone, trying to objection handle, stand up, get yourself a glass of water, move your body. I think it makes a massive difference.
Yeah, 100%. Something I used to do, I used to put little 10, 15-minute gaps in between my calls as well, just to prepare, just in case I needed like a little bit of a reset. And I think the worst thing that you can do is in between sales calls, start flicking through your phone, because then that time period where you actually need that gap, it just goes like really, really quickly, and then you're straight into it. You really need to decompress, don't you, before you go in?
Dial in, no pun intended.
Yeah.
When you're on back-to-back calls, when we stack sales reps' calendars, we actually do back-to-back calls for them, knowing that 30% won't show up that day. Because if we book them 7-8 calls, I know 2, maybe 3 won't show up. So that's okay. That's their break time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. It's knowing your numbers, isn't it? And this is what I was saying to my client last evening. It's tracking things in a way where you start to remove the emotion. You start to have a look at your percentage performance, and then have a look at, right, how do I improve this by 5%? How do I improve this by 10%? So you're looking at it from more of an analytical standpoint rather than emotional, because the emotion is just going to hinder you from everything.
Yeah, but for a lot of people, it's an emotion battle. Like every single thing is about getting over your emotions to be able to think logically, because logic comes and emotion stops us.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we spoke about it last week about emailing, and then how emotions were stopping me from doing that. But it's just you just have to conquer it by literally ignoring your emotions a lot of the times.
Yeah, exactly.
Regarding emotions when decision making, so for business owners who have emotions coming in play, I think it's good to be able to meet other successful people, because if you're a business owner and you're very emotional, and I tend to find a lot of these people haven't met other successful people, because when they do meet people who make a lot more than them, and they think, oh, totally fine. Because I was working with a business owner, I still am working with this business owner, and very often he's like, yeah, you get burnt out, don't you? You know, like, you get burnt out. And I'm thinking, you make 20 grand a month, mate. What are you getting burnt out about? And if you're getting, because you make money, dependent on the amount of stress you can handle. So if I can handle the stress of $1 million a month, and managing multiple staff, multiple teams, running my business, making content, doing everything at once, that's when you know you're made for it. If someone's making 20, 30, 40 grand and they're getting super stressed, how are they going to also do that and have staff and hire, recruit, and do the rest of it? Things don't get easier. Most people have this perception that every time I grow my business, things will get easier because I'm making more money. They actually get more stressful, and the resistance of your mind becoming more resilient to stress grows. You get better. You don't. Things don't get easier; they get harder.
Yeah. I mean, think about Elon Musk right now.
You can just handle that much. He's got how many kids? 18 million kids, and he's got that many kids, and he can run all these companies and do it all at once. And he's able to. His vision is so big, and his capacity to handle stress is so high. He's able to do all this stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. So how would you overcome that stress if you wanted to go? Let's take that 20K a month mark. Let's say you're getting stressed at that particular point. How would you combat that if you wanted to get to that 30K a month mark, 40K, 50K?
Well, what I did was I went to masterminds. So I can't say everyone should do this thing, but what worked for me was it was a pivotal point where I went to a mastermind, and I was the lowest earner there. Everyone else was making $1 million to $10 million a year. And there was some really popular guys there as well. And I sat there, and in between the guy talking at the front, I was messaging, texting, replying back to clients, and everybody else, all way bigger businesses than me, were just sat there paying attention.
Yeah.
Not distracted, not looking at their phone. And I'll talk about some other behaviors that I noticed from them, but none of them looked stressed, but I could feel that I was way more stressed than others. And then that was like a realization. They're not stressed and they have a business 10 times bigger than me. It's because they're doing something that I'm not doing. So that was the first thing. Took accountability there. And the other thing was, when I was younger, I used to think, do you know, like, I used to be the kid who never used to come to school with a pen and paper. I don't know why I thought it was cool. I just used to think, no pen, no paper, just turn up. And the cool kids used to do that. The kids were like, dossers, and I was a dosser. That's what they used to do. But in this mastermind, all 20 business owners turned up 20 minutes early, all of them, 20 minutes early with a pen and paper. And that made me realize that there's a different way of thinking for people who are actually successful.
Interesting. I think that the topic around investing into yourself as well is really, really important. I see a lot of people where they start to become successful, then they actually stop doing it. Whereas I think you should always do it, whether it's reading, whether it's a mastermind, like you said, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a call, and just learning and continuously being a student is incredibly important. I know we've had that discussion before where you should always be a student, but like you said, with that mastermind, you learn what other people are actually doing. You start to pick up on everything. You never stop learning from those either ahead of you, the same, or even slower than you in some cases.
Yeah, and like, we know when you're connecting with people now, in the beginning, I used to befriend anyone. I used to think, he's more successful than me. I want to be around this guy more. I want to actually see more from him because I think this guy's got something to teach me. And now I find guys who are more successful than me, but now I have another filter. And the filter number 2 is, do they talk negatively about women? Do they talk about women in a way which is like, I went out last night and I did this. This is a girl showing me the picture and bragging. Instant put off, and I'm like, right, that's not my type of guy. If someone's talking about like a school kid about the girls that they meet, and I have like so many business owners, so many guys in general, but I'm specifically making about business owners, they would do that. They would just talk negatively about like things that a teenager would. And I find that off-putting. Then the next thing, and the other filter is when someone has really nice things, so they might be making 3 to 5 million a year. They have nice cars, all this stuff, and their ego is like, I don't need to learn. I just need to do more. I don't need to learn anything else.
Yes,
that's also my next filter. That tells me this guy's not going to be my mate, because then now that new filter allows me to find even better people, and I can refine, and then there'll be another stage after that. But that's the current filter for the people that I'm networking with, and I can tell you I've got a few good friends now, and they are completely aligned with the ethics, morals, values, and driven as I am.
Yes, yeah. I would agree with both of those. I would also add one more filter on there as well. For me personally, and that's integrity, and that's seeing from both perspectives. There's something I really, really pick up on now. If I can have a conversation with someone and they put their hands up and say, do you know what, I didn't do that well in this area, but this is what I'm going to do to improve. That's self-accountability. And they can also see from their side of the fence and my side of the fence. They can see from both. That's something that I really, really pick up on now, because if someone's just talking at you and they're not actually having any self-reflection themselves, it just habit that I've picked up on like over the years, it's a bit of a red flag for me.
Yes, it's good that we know our red flags, because then it means that you're just going to find the right people. And I think it's something that most people don't even speak about, because they'll just accept anyone. If I go to like some sort of party or event and there's 100 people there, I got this on Warren Buffett, by the way. So if there's 100 people at an event, 3 of them will be super interesting, just by the rule of numbers. And I'd probably find 1 or 2 gems that I'd really want to be like my mate, and I will go above and beyond to make them my friends.
Yes.
3 of them, just by the rule of numbers, will also be wrong-uns.
Complete wrong-uns.
Yeah, just complete wrong-uns. And the 94 will be just in the middle. Like nice people, just okay guys and girls.
Yes.
The 3 wrong ones and the other 94 people are as good as each other. I'm just going to focus on the 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would get rid of all of them and focus all my energy. And then if I find someone good, this is why you have to speak to a lot of people, be super interested, do the Dale Carnegie, literally just be curious and ask people and find out about them, because then you'll find the right people.
Yeah. When starting a business as well, touching on self-reflection, what would the order be, whether you invest in yourself or you invest in your business in regards to the marketing and the sales side and actually growing it financially? Or would you invest into your self-development, making you a better you at what you actually do?
You can't even invest anything if you don't know what to do with it. Like if I start running ads and I don't know how to run ads without investing in a course or a product or someone to teach me, it's just a waste of money.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You can figure it out by spending loads of money, or you can spend less money and someone teach you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I've seen so many cases where people will invest into marketing, they'll invest into sales, they'll invest into courses, but all about growing their business, when in actual fact they've not done any self-development on the thing that they're actually providing, on the service that they're actually providing. So touching on service providers there. And they get frustrated when they're being held back or they can't grow. And it's like, well, it's because you're just not very good at the thing that you're actually selling. So I think it's finding that balance in between the two in regards to what you're investing in.
Yeah, and as you do more, you develop, and you might develop a new skill you can teach it. Like I've become really efficient on project management systems and building systems. Even though sales is my core skill, I'm becoming a lot better on operations. So logically, I'll also in the future be helping businesses maybe with some operational stuff as well as sales. But right now it's all sales.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say is like your strong skill? Are you better on, like, obviously I know about the leads and marketing, but like more specifically within business, what holds you back?
What holds me back is, I would say, the networking and collaboration, just because I've been the behind the scenes worker, I would say. Probably for the past 3 years, I've just had head down working behind the scenes, working with clients. So the back end of this year going into next year, it's a massive priority for me, similar to what you did, last year. So really putting myself out there and investing into a lot of masterminds and investing into seeing people in person, having intensive days, coaching sessions, and really collaborating and getting myself in front of people rather than just me being behind the screen in my office. So that's going to be by far the biggest weakness for me right now.
And what masterminds and events are you going to? Maybe I've
got one lined up September. Bedros Keuilian's event in September in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, which I'm looking at.
That sounds sick. Is that is it a collaboration with someone?
There's a few people that are part of his network. But in actual fact, he was one of my first indirect mentors right at the very beginning of my career. Not anything like directly, but I took his monthly recurring revenue model back when I was 17, 18, when I was personal training, and adapted it to personal training. And I used to study his videos like a hawk. So that's going to be quite cool to be able to meet him, shake his hand, and just say thank you.
I think he used to have long hair at the time.
Yeah, he used to have long hair. Yeah, he used to be on a whiteboard. He used to have like checkered shirt tucked into his jeans. I remember the videos.
Yeah, what a sick guy. And is the event, like, how much is the ticket?
I think the VIP ticket's $4K.
I'm going to have a look at it. I'm just going to see what you actually get for it. That sounds like a good event. Any others?
Yeah, it's just that one. A lot of them are next year now. A lot of them sort of April, because I want to go to America specifically.
America.
I don't want to do any events around Dubai or around Europe. I want to go to the States. Yeah. Because I see such a wave of entrepreneurs over there, and they're the type of people that I want to be connecting with, and they're the people that I, from afar anyway, obviously I've not met a lot of the guys, but from afar, they seem more in tune with my values as what we've just discussed.
Speaking of America, you have two choices of candidates. Obviously, we're not in America, so we got no real input there. But yeah, people have got two choices. They can vote for the guy who's falling up the stairs, or vote for the guy who's getting up after being shot.
Yeah.
And did you see? Did you see the? Have you watched the slow-mo video where he turns his head?
Yeah, you seen the bullet just fly past his head as well.
Yeah. The slow-mo video is the craziest because you hear the shot, he just turns his head slightly, and the bullet misses.
Yeah, it's just like a 3D render of it as well, isn't there? Like what would have happened if he kept his head in the same place?
Oh, it would have right at his temple.
Yeah.
What would have happened, do you think, if he would have got shot and died?
I don't know, because Biden seems... I mean, I'm not political, but I am not an expert in this field. I don't really pay too much attention to it.
Me too. I just, like, hypothetically, what I do think it would have been a civil war, because when Trump said to people, go and attack the Capitol building, they all did it. So imagine they killed him. People would burn the whole country down.
Yeah. I do think, I know a lot of people are 50-50 with Trump, but I've always looked at the best leaders are the ones in between the scale of fear and respect. And the thing is about Trump, other countries' leaders, they genuinely feared Trump. And it actually kept a lot of the peace. Whereas with Biden, I don't really see... I mean, he seems like a bit of a mess at the minute, if I'm being completely honest.
In the last beat, like 2 days ago, they gave him a note, and they said, sound positive. You sound really like insecure about something. They said something like that. And he read it out loud when he got the note.
Well, he sounds like he's with respect, he sounds like he's had a stroke. Like that's literally what he sounds like. He's slow at his words. He's not really talking. He called the Ukrainian President Putin the other day. He just seems an absolute mess. But in regards to your question, I don't know, because I think Trump's been the only leader in recent times where people actually, they respect him, but they also fear him, and I think that's the perfect combination for a good leader. Yeah,
and when you think about it, we don't have someone in the UK like that.
No,
obviously there's now Labour in power, but we don't think of our leaders and politicians in this country as like, we don't look up to them.
No.
In America, people genuinely look up to Trump. In the UK, we see our politicians as crooks, criminals. No one sees them as like, oh, they're going to really save us. There's no saviors here. Where in America, it's that freedom thing, like, we're going to get a guy and he's going to save us.
Yes.
We don't have that sense of feeling here. And I think it takes someone young and fearless who needs to come in and completely change things and say things that inspire people. No one's saying anything inspirational. Our politics is like, you ask them a question and they answer it without saying yes or no.
Yeah.
There's no fearlessness about it, which is why no one respects our politicians.
Yeah, it's because the problem is, it's the weakness of people pleasing. And I think the problem with the UK government, they're just trying to please every single category of people, but you never will. Yeah. Whereas that's why you look at Trump and you have this massive, in actual fact, if you think about it, the best leaders are the ones with the biggest divide, because you know that they're going to get stuff done. You have that trust that they're actually going to like move the needle forward with the country itself. Whereas the UK, I love the UK. It's been my home my entire life until recent, but there's no trust in the government. There's no trust anything will get done. Everything just seems to be getting worse. No one's actually being looked after, but everyone's trying to be pleased. I mean, we have so many categories of fucking human beings. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but they're like, just everyone's trying to be pleased, and there's no clear direction for the company itself. I actually watched a podcast with Alfie Best and Rob Moore recently, and Alfie Best
a black guy?
Gypsy billionaire Alfie Best is.
Oh, okay. I've seen him. I've not watched it.
Yeah, so made his money obviously from nothing, but he's actually moved to Monaco just because the UK just wasn't treating him very well in regards to tax, continuously on a tax investigation, even though he's paying every penny. But he was saying he had a friend who moved to Monaco from the UK, and his friend wanted to move back to the UK because it's his home. The UK government tried to charge him £50 million just to move back to his own home, even though the reason he left was because he was overly taxed and overly investigated, even though he did absolutely nothing wrong. And it's almost like the UK, screwed their heads on and just said, "Do you know what? If we do what Dubai did, let's look after the people with money. It's going to drive so much money into the economy and really look after the country."
Do you know when tax is lower for large businesses, do you know what happens? When tax is lower for large, most people think tax the rich more. That's what they say. Because I grew up in an environment like, no, give them more tax. But I'll tell you what actually happens.
Yes.
When you tax them less, their margins are more. They're able to invest more in their business. They're able to create more opportunities. The reason why China is getting ahead of America is because in certain states of America, they're taxing them so much that they can't bring in and hire good talent. They can't grow their companies. And that's why industries and companies would grow in other countries because of that. And even to the point like America doesn't give green cards to Chinese or European people who have completed like a university degree there. So if you've been to, let's say, Harvard and completed a degree, they don't give you an automatic green card, which gets you a job. That's why they'll take that money for education, and then they'll go and get a job elsewhere. And today's Harvard, like people who are doing amazing in MIT and Harvard and all those universities, they will go innovate and do R&D and development in other countries, and they'll get ahead. So most people don't even see how visas and tax really affects us in the long term.
Yeah, massive. I think one of the, I don't know if it's still the same exact numbers now, but a few years ago when I was looking at it, Norway actually have an incredible setup when it comes to tax. And I really, really agree with it. So what they do is they tax the business owners. It's either 15, 16 or 17% tax, like a flat rate. So the business owners have a lower rate, and then the employees of the businesses are taxed similar to the UK, where the more you earn, the more you actually get taxed. But what that does, it keeps the flat rate, the fixed rate for the business owners, because they're the ones employing the employees. So it creates a fantastic economy within Norway. They do a really, really good job of it.
Pretty impressive. I don't know much about Norway, so it'd be good to learn. But obviously, I don't know if I'm going to be going to Norway. And
it's good, mate. It's one of the best countries I've ever been to, if not the best I've ever been to. I love it there.
Yeah, I've resisted going to Dubai. I do like sometimes you do get the urge and think, should I just go to Dubai and should I just register my business there? Because like I would just save so much on tax. But I think my family's here, and there's intelligent ways if you know how to do your tax. If you're making a few $100,000, you're probably going to go to Dubai and think you want to live this influencer life. And when you make proper money, there's ways to do it. There's very intelligent ways to actually become very tax efficient.
Yeah. It's looking at the things that are most important. I mean, me and Gemma, we were my wife. We were looking at Dubai and we were looking at Spain. We were in between the two, and Spain is a 24% flat tax rate, and obviously Dubai is 0, and then 9% over $100,000 right now. That will keep going up in Dubai, by the way, but that's it. That's another story. But you've got to look at outside of that. So you've got to look at quality of life, where your tax is actually going. I don't mind paying tax. I'm not anti-tax. I just need to see where it's actually going. Is it if it's actually benefiting me? In Spain, in regards to its culture, it's without sounding cheesy, but the love that you actually have around like a dinner table, just the environment, just everything. The streets are clean. Everyone's looking after each other. It's a really, really nice environment. So I don't mind paying the tax. Really don't mind. Whereas Dubai, I can see that slowly creeping up. I mean, they've already put the 9% in now, over $100,000, but that'll keep going up, and we'll see what happens to all of the people that flock to Dubai when it keeps creeping up.
You got to remember, Dubai is a business, and how the business works. It's no difference to Uber. When Uber first launched, they were getting drivers on for next to nothing. Then they take 5%, then 10%, then eventually 20%, then 30%. They get the drivers in first. They get the people on the platform first. No difference to a bigger business, aka a city like Dubai, who just needs to get the people and businesses in. They get the people and businesses in, and they ramp up the tax over time. And now you're locked in. So that's just the way it works. And you have to just stay aware of what is happening in which you are.
So Dubai is an economical sales funnel.
It's a great. That's a great way to say it.
Basically. Do you think you'll always stay in the UK?
No, I'm willing to go anywhere. I could live in Thailand. I could live in America. Like I went to Vegas earlier this year in March. And I was like, I could live in Vegas. I could like see myself living in Vegas. Like I go somewhere, I think I could live here. Something about America I do like. I just I don't know what it is. Like you would think there's just so much shit happening. I know people who are leaving America. I go to Canada. There's so many people leaving. I don't know what it is. Something seems really interesting. And then I would live in Spain. But I would live anywhere, to be honest. I could just live anywhere. As long as there's good gym, airport, internet connection, I can live.
Yeah, I think America's the only... My wife's petrified of this because we finally found a home here in Spain. But I think Texas specifically is the only place that's given me the side eye, if that makes sense. Just because it just aligns with me. Like I like to ride motorbikes. Like I'm just a relaxed guy. I love
I didn't know that, Josh.
Open road. So
do you have a motorbike in Spain?
I haven't. No, I'm not going to as well. They're absolutely crazy over here on the road.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to die. No, they're crazy.
So Alex doesn't know this yet, but I'm planning a Spain visit soon. So
Nice.
Me and Alex might be coming over. We're going to keep you up to date.
Absolutely.
Maybe an in-person podcast. We're just going to look at the dates and plan. We've just got some intense few weeks right now.
Yeah.
Just to get our systems built, but then we're going to be doing some sort of vlog stuff as well.
100%. We should set up a bit of an entrepreneurial dinner or meet up with people who are over here or want to come over as well.
Sounds good, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. That'll be really exciting.
Okay, I'll catch you in the next one.
Incredible. Take care.
See you later. Bye.